Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a different kind of video. I wanted to do a deck tech for Zoro, as I'm going to be going to Vegas this weekend, and we're going for Battle Spirit, and I'm not gonna be able to do any other kind of video. So I'm gonna do a deck tech for the most popular decks that are coming up, like that you might be able to play in these upcoming events that are 500 plus people. And I want to give you a guide of how to play it and some of the deck choices that you can replace with the deck. This deck has just won the latest online event. Not this deck exactly. I'm just like the Zoro deck won the online event, and it was one of the most. I think it was the most represented deck. So you can expect to see a lot of red in upcoming formats. I mean, in the coming format. Or you're gonna expect to see a lot of decks that are trying to counter this deck, as I think is probably the best deck of the format. If it's not the best, Kiemo will be the second one, the best deck. But like, they're super close with each other, and those are the two decks that you have to prepare for and against. But I'm gonna start with Zoro. So the first thing that you wanna, this is the deck base. As you see, this is now 50 cards. This is only 41. But I think this is the base of the deck. This is what everyone is going to be playing, and these are the cards that you should be looking for. So Otama, Makimo, Nami, Sonicon, those are staples for this engine to at least work. We're going to see some other 1-drops later that you can add to the deck depending on what you want to do with the deck. But these are the ones that you're always going to see in the deck. Curly Dadan, you're going to see it. It's just another searcher for the deck. Brook, it could be any 2K here, but I think Brook is the more efficient and the one that you're going to see the most. Vista is going to be a 4-of in every deck. Zoro is going to be a 4-of. It's just too good with the leader, and it gives you the more aggressiveness that the deck is needed. 3 new gates at the very least. Some decks are going to be playing 4, some decks are going to be maybe playing even less, but I think the consensus is that 3 is the right number for the deck. Robin, maybe some people don't play it, but I think most of the people are going to play Robin because it's really good in the mirror. And if you're going to see a lot of mirrors, then maybe you can even up that up to 4. But 3 is a number, a baseline for every deck. Jet Pistol, the same thing, is going to be good against other decks, but not the mirror. That's the only difference. So that's why I have it at 3. It's not that amazing against the mirror. So you'd rather not play that many. But if you hit it randomly not alive, it could be decent too. So this could be a 4-of or a 3-of. It really is on preference. But this is like the base of the deck. Now let's go to see some options that you can get go and see. All right, now these are the options that you can use to complement the deck that you're playing. So the first thing that you want to do, let's go over the 1-drops that you can use. The deck wants to have at least around 20 1-drops, and based on what you want to do with the deck, you should accommodate for that. So if you want to have a more defensive deck that is trying to get to the 9-drop, you should play more choppers. You should play more of these cards so you can just survive, so you can play the 9-drop. As the 9-drop is one of the best cards in the mirror, if not the best, and it's also one of the it just gives you some late game defense, and it gives you some something that you can search with Namir, some consistency as well. So that's why you would like to play Chopper. Some decks can cut it out if you're trying to be more aggressive and you don't care about too much defense, but this is an option that you have. Weighty Bay is really good in the mirror, and that's the main reason that you would play this card for. And if you're expecting 200 people, 168 people, I think was the latest count on like the amount of mirrors that you're gonna see, then you should consider maybe playing 1 or 2 of this card. Maybe you see it and it's gonna be really good in those scenarios. Then we have Magra. Magra is really good against slower decks, like control type decks, where you can just play your 1-drop and just pump it up and being able to hit good numbers and also develop a threat at the same time. It's really good. I have been liking it a lot. Some people play it at 2 most of the time. It could still stay at 2. You could not play it at all. Like, it's not necessary for the deck to function, but it is a good option to play it. Now we have Gordon. Gordon, I think this is a 3 in most decks, but it also could not be played in some decks. It works very well with Robin and Whitebeard. So if you're playing more of those, you should consider playing more of this one as well. And maybe you cut the Chopper in that case, as you are trying to use your removal as the main thing. And you can also, if you're playing a bunch of the Gordons, then you should play more Jet Pistols, as you can clear things out. This card is really good against green decks, and that's why you should play at least 3 maybe, or 4, depending on what you're trying to do. But green is your worst matchup, so if you're trying to tech for the mirror and green, as they're the decks you're gonna see the most, Gordon makes a lot of sense, as you can minus their cards and KO them, and you get a lot of tempo by doing so. And this is important for that reason. Usopp, if you're struggling against Whitebeard, I think Whitebeard is one of the worst matchups for the deck, as their leader is permanently 6k, and as long as they can develop a board, they can just out-combo whatever you do, and they don't care if you go white, because you're gonna have a lot of attackers that are heavier than what they can offer. So against decks like Whitebeard, where they're gonna have a lot of radical beams and a lot of extra cards, you could play something like Usopp. Is on the lower end of the cards that you want to play, but it's there and it works. Ura, if you want to have more cards for the mirror, Ura is perfect, as Ura will allow you to recycle your cards, the most important ones that you want to see, and also add a body to the field. So Ura is very important for the mirror. If you want to improve in that matchup, if you feel like that's what you need, you should definitely consider playing more Uras. You don't have to play 4 or whatever number, but she's good in every matchup. She just allows you to recycle your 2Ks, your 1Ks, or the cards that you need, even your Namis. Is very powerful, and is something that you should consider playing for. Monkey D. Luffy, if you're struggling against like green decks, especially, or any kind of decks that just put a lot of blockers, you might want to up the number of Monkey D. Luffy, as Monkey D. Luffy does offer a win condition on those types of scenarios. I wouldn't say play it at 4. I would play like 1 or 2 atop. If you're just playing the other cards, if you're not focusing your deck on him. But then, yeah, that's what you should do, because it's just more efficient that way. You subsequently, you can use Diablo Jumbo as instead of Luffy, maybe Diablo Jumbo if you don't want to play another body. That just doesn't do, I mean, it's just another body. But this one just makes any card unblockable, and it's just for 1 energy, and it's just another finisher. Then you should do this one. You shouldn't play more than 1 in the deck, as there is not that many targets that can actually use it, and there is no. It's only for like those niche scenarios where you just are going for game, and you just need the extra push. If you want to do that, that's on the lower end, equally as Zoro. That is on the lower end of cards that you actually want to play in the deck, but there are options depending on what you want to do with the deck. And then lastly is Radical Beam. I've seen a lot of lists cutting Radical Beam completely. I can agree for the most part. I don't like playing decks without some sort of defense. That's just my personal preference, because you're not always going to draw the best hands. And when you don't draw the best hands, you need some time and you need to buy some defense to allow you to survive. But I can see this one being a 2-off, maybe a 1-off, as it's just, it really is not going to be that effective against many matchups. But it's good to have some defense. If you're cutting your choppers and you're cutting your radical beams, you have 0 defense. And how are you going to be, like, the mirror also, like, you require some defense for the mirror. And this just offers that extra push, unless you're trying just to raise the opponent, at which case it's all on the how lucky you get in the draw, which, I mean, it is neither here nor there. But yeah, so these are the options that I can offer you for the deck. Okay, and we're going into what leaders are you gonna face, and these are the most popular decks right now, according to what I've seen in the bigger tournaments, as how many people play these decks. So these are the ones that you wanna be prepared for. So let's start with Zoro. Zoro in the mirror, you should look for the your early plays, but also you want the removal. Like if you're going first, you want something like Robin. Roaming being the best card in the mirror, as it forces the opponent to deal with her. If they don't have a jet pistol, they have to have like a combination of Vista plus a minusing effect, which is not always possible. And having that being going first, if that's your option, is really good. Something that can generate advantage, like how many Namis you see, how many Dadans you see, how many Uras, if you're playing the Ura in your deck, you see, can give you the game too, as having more resources than your opponent is really important. And then on the top end, how many Whitebeards do you see? Because Whitebeard serves as removal, and again, removal is really important in the mirror, as it allows you to attack their leader, or their leader, and remove something at the same time, and that gives you back your tempo really quickly. So if you're able to stick 2 back-to-back Whitebeards, you're probably gonna win, and it was gonna determine the mirrors for the most part. And yeah, that's what it is. What it is. Something like Whitey Bay serves as removal, and also they have to attack it. Also, it's really important in the mirror. So anything that has to do with removal is what you have to mulligan for, and you should be able to win. Even a Zoro having rush and function as removal can actually be important. So that's what you have to do. You should. It doesn't matter if you go first or second. It's all about like mulligan for removal. That's the most important thing that you need to do. Okay. Now we have Law. What you want to do against Law is fill your board with creatures as quickly as possible. Poke the opponent for 5. If they take it or not, it doesn't matter. And then in one turn, just attack them with everything. If you have a rusher to complement the last attack, just 5, and then force them to just combo their hand, and force them to not being able to develop quickly enough. So because Law can be really fast, you don't want to give them too many cards like early, so they can have everything they want. So you just want to attack with everything in one turn and force them to combo cards so they can get out of attacks. That's really important. It doesn't really matter if you go first or second, but I mean, always going first in this matchup is fine. Kiemon, you actually want to go second. Their game plan is going first. I mean, they want to go second because they can tap your stuff and then they can just outvalue you that way. So you do want to be going second against Kiemon. Your most important cards in this matchup are removal-based cards, but also they have to be big removal. For example, like Whitebeard or the Jet Pistol are really important in this matchup, as they will allow you to deal with some cards, and if you combine that with the minusing effects, it will allow you to deal with like an 8-drop. It will allow you to deal with like a 7-drop if they are playing that one. And that's really important for you to be able to win the game. The best card in this matchup would be the Whitebeard, to be fair. So I would opt. That's why I'm a proponent of the playing 4 of the Whitebeard for that reason. Then we're playing against Ivankov. Ivankov, you should do the same strategy that you're doing against Law, where you fill your board with cards first, and then you start attacking the Ivankov. As early game, they're gonna defend their attacks, all the attacks early on, and then by the time you have a full board, they're not gonna have any cards in hand, and then everything that you attack with, they're gonna have to take. And as long as you put them low on life, then you're gonna be able to you rinse and repeat basically when you do that. You let them kill your board, then you develop again, and then you do it again. That's how you're gonna win against Ivankov for the most part. Z, against Z, it doesn't matter if you go first or second in Ivankov, by the way. Z, I mean, you want to go first, but it doesn't really matter on this matchup. You just want to have a huge aggressive curve where you go 1-drop, 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 and then swing for 7s, swing aggressively at the opponent, not give them any time. Important card in this matchup could be something like Gordon, as your Jet Pistols don't kill the Borsalino, so forces them to block like one attack. Using Gordon as a minus effect and being able to kill it by battle is going to be really important, and it's going to go a long way, being able to remove the Borsalino for the most part. And then again, you just want to have the 1-drops, and you want to be aggressive. The rushers are going to be really good in this matchup. As long as you're attacking the leader, for the most part, just ignore the cards that are not as important, and then just attack the leader as much as you can, and force them to combo out of the leader. As that's what's gonna give you the game. Like, don't let them go to a late game where they can just play a 10-drop and then it remove you every turn. Like, that's how you lose the game. And then at some point, like this, you shouldn't lose this game, by the way. This is a favorite game for you. Smoker is for the same part, about the same that I was talking about. You just have to outpace them. You have to have a whiteboard early on, and then attack them as much, like with 7 numbers if possible, because they do play a lot of 2Ks, and they're trying to get to their late game plays as quickly as possible. So you do have to try to push the tempo by attacking for 7s or for 5s. Don't attack for 6 too much, because they do play a lot of 2Ks in their deck. Newgate, you do want to go. It really doesn't matter. This matchup is not about so much of whether or not you go first or second. You just have to be able to pressure the leader, and you have to run them out of cards to be able to win. And that's not always that easy, but the best way to do it is with removal. As Edward Newgate doesn't get there by himself. Like, he needs to have some cards to be able to attack extra. It doesn't matter what version they're playing, but they need to have battle cards on field so they can attack. And since they're taking their own life, at some point they're gonna have to keep their energy up so they can defend their life. And you can, like, if you put them low, like, the best thing you can do is like develop a little bit and attack with big numbers early, and then remove whatever they play, and then keep attacking for big numbers. Not develop too much, because going wide against this deck is not really something that you want to do. You just want to hit with big numbers, and then force them to a combo, develop something, force them to a combo, develop something, force them to a combo, and try to remove their cards. And then at some point they're gonna have to, you run them out of resources, and they're gonna have to, you're gonna tax their energy, because they're gonna have to keep 1, 2, or 3 cards up to defend their leader, and that's when you're gonna have to like, you have to win from that spot. Is basically what it comes down to. So yeah, those are the leaders and what you have to do against each of them. All right, Zoro is very strong this format. He gatekeeps some of the some strategies out of the game, because he's too fast and he's too efficient for how much his cards cost. And it's important to be aware of this deck, and if you're playing it, just be aware of what can actually give you trouble and how you should prepare for these matchups. Deck is really strong. I have some gameplays of these decks, I mean of Zoro in general, on this channel. If you wanna go see them, just there is a list of videos there that you can see Zoro. But that being all for today, thank you all for watching. Have a good day.